Can you feel free play in your wheel when you rock it side to side like this? If you can, then you've got a bad tie rod end and it needs to be replaced. It's simple to do, and it's going to be a similar process for just about any ATV. So we're going to show you how to do it on our Yamaha Blaster 200. For tools, everybody's machine is going to be a little bit different, but we're going to be using a pry bar and hammer. We've got a torque wrench, sockets, combo wrenches, needle nose pliers, safety glasses, rubber gloves, and some rags. So right here we have our new tie rod ends. These ones are from Tusk. We also have our anti-seize and contact cleaner, and you can find all of this stuff on our website. Goes without saying, to get to the tie rod, you're going to have to remove your wheel first. The next step is to loosen up your jam nuts. If you have a bunch of stuff on there, it's a good idea to clean that off. After that, you're going to want to loosen up the jam nuts. Keep in mind that the jam nuts are going to be opposite. So this one is actually reverse thread, and the one on the inside is going to be regular threads. And it is possible your machine might be different, so just pay attention and look at those threads when you're doing this. After that, we're going to remove both of the cotter pins on these and then loosen up both of these nuts. So with that nut loose, I'm going to flip it around and thread it back on so the castle side is facing up. Now we need to release the tie rod ends from the knuckle and the steering shaft. So to do that, there's actually a special tool, but we're not going to be reusing this. I'm not worried about it being damaged or anything like that. So I'm just going to use a pry bar, put a little bit of pressure on that, tap the knuckle. Sometimes that's enough to press it up. If not, you can hit on the bottom where we installed that castle nut, pop that up through, remove the nut. Then we can remove the tie rod. Now we're ready to replace the tie rod ends. So some manuals, they're going to want you to measure from center to center, or they'll have you measure this each side. But the easiest way to do this is just count the amount of turns on each tie rod end as you take that out, and keep track of which end goes where. So this one is going to our steering post. This other one is going to our knuckle. And just remembering that these are reverse thread. So I've got 1 turn, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 7.5 turns on that one. As you can see, there's a little rust and corrosion in there we had to clean out. So that's why we're going to use anti-seize on these new tie rod ends on those threads. Now be aware, some manuals do want you to use Loctite on there, but for us, we're using the anti-seize because you can see there's corrosion problems and we want to be able to adjust these when we need to. So to install it, I'm going to count those 7.5 turns. So that's 7.5 turns. That should put us pretty close to where we need to be. But just keep in mind, that's a rough adjustment. We are going to have to align this once we're done. After that, we'll go ahead and do the same steps on that inboard side. Now, if you did take a measurement, you can take that again and see if it's any different. There can be some differences from one manufacturer of tie rod ends to another, so just be aware of that. Now we can set the tie rod back in place. And we'll reinstall these castle nuts, and we're going to torque them to spec. You want to refer to your manual for that. Now if you torque the castle nut down and it doesn't quite line up with that hole in the stud, then you always want to tighten it to get it to line up. You don't want to back it off to line it up. So now we'll go ahead and install our cotter pins. After that, we'll reinstall our wheel and do the same steps on the other side. Once you have everything back together, you need to tighten down your jam nuts, but we're going to do that after we do our alignment. So follow us over to that video to know the easiest way to get that done. And that's how you replace tie rod ends on your ATV. If you have any questions about the install process, leave those down in the comments below. And as always, if you need any parts for your ATV, we have those on our website. So go check that out and subscribe to our channel for more helpful content. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.